Good evening. Welcome to Uganda Catholic Television News. Good news for all on this beautiful Tuesday evening, the 28th of November 2023. I'm Oriema John Pasco. The Shadow Cabinet has today resolved to continue with the opposition boycott of parliamentary sittings until when the government is ready to comprehensively respond to the opposition demands on safeguarding human rights across the country. The cabinet, chaired by the leader of opposition in Parliament, Matthias Mpuga, also urged opposition members of Parliament to continue attending parliamentary committee meetings and defy committee chairpersons who attempt to chase them out of the meetings. Mpuga also cautioned political party leaders against issuing directives to their respective MPs that are intended to undermine the opposition cause. This follows a directive by the Forum for Democratic Change and Democratic Party to its members to end the boycott and return to the House. Mpuga says the danger in such a move is the possibility of causing internal rifts. The DP party whip, Peter Cote, informed the Shadow Cabinet that the Democratic Party caucus is already in disagreement with the majority of its members, opting to move against the guidance from the Democratic Party headquarters. Ugandans, especially the youth and adolescents, have been urged to use HIV/AIDS preventive measures to achieve the 2030 goals of eradicating HIV/AIDS. Dr. Nelson Msoba, the Director General Uganda AIDS Commission, expressed concern over the high rates of prevalence of the virus among the young population, which he says highlights the need for targeted education and awareness campaigns to promote safe sexual practices and encourage regular testing. This comes at a time when Uganda joins the rest of the world to commemorate the World AIDS Day this Friday, the 1st of December, at Chibali Playground in Rakai District, under the theme Ending AIDS by 2030, Keeping Communities at the Center.
Now, first of all, we've started by isolating the age group. We know, for instance, that being in school is a protective factor. We are looking at data, we are working with UNAIDS to look at data and see the impact of COVID, because we saw, a very high rate of teenage pregnancies during COVID because, teenagers and children were out of school. But from previous studies, which we are trying to update, HIV prevalence amongst the school-going group is low. We need to do newer studies. The Ministry of Health did a study some time back. It was around 1%. So school is a protective factor. There are still issues there in schools around stigma and discrimination from fellow learners, from teachers. But the general message is that let's have our young ones in school. In addition to equipping them with skills that will help them to protect them in other areas, but you're giving them skills to protect themselves from HIV, negotiation skills, you're cushioning them, from issues in the environment. So school is a protective factor. HIV prevalence is generally low in schools. We are trying to update that information. And we have tables. I have data that USA has data that we can share with you. I have my colleagues here. There is Ruth, from the Documentation Center. Yes, Ruth, please share. I have Joanita and the others. You probably know them. So you can look at the details. But we have prevalence tables by district. So we know, and we are supported by UNAIDS. Our data is verified, and it's on global standards. We know where the new cases are, how many by district. We know the enrollment on ART by district. And we can drill, that's why we think if we all put in effort, we can drill down and end this epidemic. So it's a lot of information. It's not something I can give you off cuff. Look at some of those fact sheets and synthesize and come back to us if you have any other questions. Initiatives, yes, we have multiple initiatives out there addressing different components by different players. Both from government, but also from our partners. We have, for instance, support from the US government program called the Presidential Emergency Relief for AIDS, started by President Bush about 20 years ago. PEPFAR, that you know as PEPFAR. It has a program called DREAMS, It's in selected, it looks at, we've sat and agreed on selected districts with high prevalence. It's a package, that comes with equipping young people with information, with, economic packages, with psychosocial support. It is specifically geared towards making sure that the HIV negative young people don't get infected. It especially targets those who are at risk of dropping out of school and, all the other vulnerabilities. We have programs within government that also, there are things you hear about households. You will be amazed when you look at issues that are making our people vulnerable. If you have a home and you have 6 children and you're struggling to find a meal to eat in a day, culturally, our people say, even before a young child is 15, they are sending her out to go and looking at her as a source of income for the family. But if that family can be cushioned, if that young person can be in school, so there are initiatives like those ensuring that wealth, household incomes are improved and cushioning those. So wealth creation, income inequality is being addressed, providing information, and it's both from government, from PEPFAR, from the bilaterals, from programs like the Global Fund supporting us to be able to unleash. So there are different initiatives. Again, if you look at the details of our reports, we are able to share some of those. Your second question was on Rakai, that what is the status in Rakai? One of the reasons we go back to Rakai now is we go back to Rakai feeling a little victorious, because the HIV prevalence for Rakai is around the national average. It's about 5.3, 5.4. So you can see that we can interpret that to say, because we really, all of us descended there, that's where the program started. Of course, it took the brunt. Rakai lost a lot of people. We had child-headed households. We had orphans there. You could find whole homes with coffins. But it has turned that round, and we want to go there in memory of those people. We want to remember them. We want to recognize them for the violence and, facing the epidemic with braveness. And you spoke about, of course, there is a part of Rakai that's on the lake, which is Kasensero, the fisher folks. Again, we have programs focusing on them. The fisher folks, they are young people, they are dynamic, they are risk takers. They have just survived the risks of the lake. So really, our aggression is to give them information that you need to survive for tomorrow, for you to be around to go out and look for wealth and do work again. So they are very intensive programs targeting them, and it is related to one of the questions Brian asked. We have a category of the population that we call key populations, because we all don't face the same risks. There are people either because of what they're engaged in, their lifestyles, it puts you at risk of acquiring HIV more than others. And sex workers, among those, the key populations who are at risk. If you engage in, it is illegal for us in Uganda for same-sex people to engage in sex, but it's high-risk sex, and HIV prevalence is highest amongst that group. It's as high as 30 to 40%, So again, having information and ensuring that what people are doing necessarily puts them at risk of certain things is key. And those specific groups, there are programs targeting those specific groups, like sex workers. Government is not stopping that to happen. Sex work is illegal, and they may be arrested and taken to prison for sex work, but government will not stop a health worker from treating the sex worker. The question on prisons, Musa, the HIV virus has been the most eluding for the scientist, because it behaves differently from the other viruses. It behaves differently, and lots of investments have been made when you look at public health in finding a vaccine for HIV. But we are not yet there. The options that have been found, because for every solution, before it's put to the population to use, the benefits must outweigh the disadvantages. We wouldn't want to provide false hope that take a vaccine, you are not okay, and people go out there. So we've not yet made a breakthrough, but we want Ugandans to remain hopeful, to keep alive. We know that work continues to be done by the scientists, both our local scientists and globally. I am sure that either during our lifetime or the lifetime of our children, there will be a cure and there will be a vaccine. So we shouldn't lose hope. I think those were the questions. I don't know if my colleagues want to add anything.
Thank you very much for watching Uganda Catholic Television News. Good news for all. It's time for us now to go for a commercial break.
Uctv. Good news for all.
You are watching Uctv, good news for all. For this and more, tune in to Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Toboka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the request show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a no car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773 597 166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasese Get Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
It's unbelievable. Now, companies, businesses, and organizations can make bulk payments easily with Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT to anyone without the need of a bank account, anywhere, anytime, just like that. The recipient needs only their funds, national ID, and token number received via SMS to withdraw money from any center agent nearby. The Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT is simple, secure, and convenient. You think it's too good to be true? Visit any of our branches countrywide or visit www.centenarybank.co.ug to know more. Centenary Bank. Centenary Bank is a member center group regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits of up to 10 million shillings are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Terms and conditions apply.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage that money
with a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
Uctv. Good news for all.
And as we finalize our bulletin, in sports, Uganda national netball team, the She-Cranes, have pulled out of the 2030 Netball African Cup due to leadership wrangles. Semgenze Mustafa filed for us this story.
Uganda has withdrawn from the upcoming 2023 Netball Africa Cup that was supposed to take place from November 28th to December 6th at the University of Botswana indoor facility. Initially scheduled to field two teams, the She-Cranes women and the Rock for the men, Uganda's decision to abstain from the competition comes amidst a series of administrative challenges that have covered the country's netball scene in recent times. The turbulence within the Uganda Netball Federation escalated earlier this month when the National Council of Sports withdrew its recognition certificate over concerns about accountability and administration issues. Subsequently, World Netball intervened by establishing a normalization committee led by Moses Mwase, president of the Swimming Federation. This committee has been entrusted with overseeing the day-to-day operations of the Uganda Netball Federation until new elections can be conducted, citing the difficulties arising from the ongoing management course, the committee acknowledged the difficulty for Uganda in mobilizing its team on short notice, leading to the unfortunate decision to withdraw from the tournament. The absence of Uganda's teams, particularly the She Cranes, who had been anticipated to engage in a fierce showdown, notably against South Africa, the team they triumphed over to secure a comfortable 5th place finish at the Netball World Cup, leaves a void in the competition. Despite Uganda's withdrawal, the Netball Africa Cup proceeds with formidable teams like defending champion South Africa, hosts Botswana, Burundi, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Namibia in the women's category. Meanwhile, the men's category comprises 5 remaining teams: Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, and all are geared up to compete for the coveted title. Uganda is again expected to take part in the Vitality Netball Nations Cup, which has nations such as England, Australia, and New Zealand, which is due in January.
Thank you for watching Uganda Catholic Television News, Good News for All. It now marks the end of our bulletin. Good evening.